questions. At this time, I would like to ask you to join me in welcoming the gentlemen of Onyx Midwest.
Welcome back to another with me. I'm Major Mind doing a rope play market days. Do any of that? Have a mic. So yeah,
in the Chicago land over the United States.
Myself. We didn't. This is putt. So let's go in the setup here that you have going on, Starling.
Essentially, though we're outside right now, it is protected. When you're playing with rope, you want to make sure that you're being very sand contact, your hand to protect it. Because while it might be really hot to have that kind of ripping, quickly get rope burn.
The audience here, what kind of rope are you using?
Using is called the number one thing when it comes to that. It can be very
different types of rope.
A little bit more structure. It comes with a lot of color, soft, it's durable, but it's easy to rip just in case.
Okay. And you talked about the importance of the cleanliness of the rope.
Yes. Again, when you're going into private areas, you want to make sure everything is very sanitary, but also when you're doing your ties, you never want to go too tightly against the skin to block circulation.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting started here.
Yeah, and so can you kind of talk about a little bit of like what you're doing here and why you're kind of going in between his legs? Like, what's going on here?
So one of the principles when you're working with rope is you want to make sure that you see your tension when you want to highlight certain space or the hair pattern.
Okay.
So depending on how tight you put, that can pull attention on the right, like really androgynous spots of the body, and to help keep structure.
Okay. And when you mean structure, you mean like the integrity of like the area in which you're kind of lining the rope up.
Yeah, the area that you're lining the rope, but then also the parts that go across the body. Again, if you're doing this for certain purposes, you want to make sure that certain spots are tension and are being engaged.
All right. How you feeling, Pup?
I'm feeling engaged.
All right, engaged is good. So we want to take a minute to talk about our Toy With Me toy box. You can actually click the link in the comments, go to the website, fill out that form, and you actually get the opportunity to get a bunch of free items. So you go to follow the link, fill out the form, you get the test in the mail. It's all this testing. You'll render the test. You'll send the test back, and once you send those back, we'll be sending you a toy box full of awesome goodies. All sorts of things, maybe some rope, maybe a couple toys in there, maybe some lube, all sorts of stuff that we have in those toy boxes. Those will be sent directly to you if you follow the link, fill out the form, send us the test, do the test, send it back, and those will be great for you. So let's talk a little bit about knots. Let's talk about knots. Can you kind of...
Yeah, so depending on what you have, when you start doing shibari or any type of rope play, you should always have safety scissors. But when it comes to not having certain knots, you can do what's called loose knots. Loose knots slide along other ropes so that they're not hindering any blood flow or creating too much of a pressure point against the body.
Okay.
And then you have certain fixed knots. Those are already supported with other ties, so those most likely are the most sturdy and have the most structure.
Wonderful. So so Atsa bondage, as far as like rope play and shibari, can you kind of explain where does that name come from? Shibari.
So shibari is usually the term that's used when it comes to rope play. It usually applies more to the intricacy of the knots and the design that you're utilizing, opposed to if you're doing rope play specifically for your enjoyment with another partner.
And now I'm assuming that's Japanese-based, the word?
Yes, and then knots, generally most folks, if you're using like harnesses, suspensions, if you're using natural play, if you're taking impact play, if you're combining it with other things, then it starts to identify more with rope play.
Okay. So are there any other things you want to notice as far as when you're tying somebody up? Any things you want to pay attention? Texture of the skin that the type of.
Definitely before the skin, make sure that fragrance, and then you also want to look at if there are any body sores, skin tags, if there's any place in the body that has different alteration in the skin. That way you're less likely to irritate it.
And with most, are there any ask your sub before you tie them up?
Yes, definitely. When you where there are hard lines and how tight or constrict my rims, wanting